This part work has been supplied to me free of charge from Fanhome.com. Please pop along to their website and see all of the other build-up part works that they have to offer, as well as other collections of collectible things. I would like to thank Fanhome for providing me with the part work so I can produce these videos for your enjoyment and educational needs. If you'd like to build one of your own, pop along to fanhome.com. They're available in many countries worldwide. If you do want to build one, leave a note in the comments to let me know how you're getting on, and let me know how I'm getting on as well. I'd like feedback of all types. So thank you once more to Fanhome for providing me with this kit. I hope you enjoy the build. Let's get on with it. Hello, I'm Chris, this is Gross Models, and welcome to issue 30 of Building R2-D2 from Fanhome and Star Wars, and yeah, me. This is a big build issue. It's going to be quite a lot going on, and we're bringing in some bits from previous issues that I always like it when things, I like it when a plan comes together. I like it when a droid comes together as well. When things fit together and you end up with one big bit instead of 5 little bits, it's lovely. It's a nice feeling. But before we get to the building, we'll have a quick flick through the magazine. I'm not going to spend much time doing that at all because I just want to get to the building bit and do the stuff. So if you want to pause and read the words, feel free. I'll try and keep my fingers out of the way for most of it. ILM, yeah, one of the best effects companies, I mean, one of the first effect companies as far as I'm aware, certainly one of the big ones. Yeah, Animal Studies to make walkers, because we're still looking at Empire at the moment. Stop motion animation, all good stuff. Battle Droids, a B1 series, features in various prequel movies as well as series. All good. I didn't know that they had, command storage and signal reception boost antennas. All good, but they also fly the STAP things, don't they? Although they get the shutdown command, then they just turn themselves off and fold up again. But, yeah. Right, the build. The right-wheel drive motor is the first thing. It's the big thing that we've got in this issue, and it's heavy. It's the only thing that came this time. 4 cable ties, which are always useful. We're going to be using those momentarily anyway. But this is one of the drive motors for R2 himself. It's a substantial little motor. Does the job, and obviously makes him go forwards and backwards and turn as well. So we're going to be fitting that in here. It obviously has its own gearbox already assembled. You don't have to play around with that. That just goes into there. There is a flat side to this, actually 2 flat sides to that, and there is 2 flat sides to that wheel that we just put in there. You can just about see them in there. So make sure that lines up so it fits in like that. And this goes in a jaunty angle, if I can see the picture properly. Yes, goes in there a lovely little jaunty angle. It sort of doesn't really lock in place. There's no pins or anything, but there are, you can see the 2 screw holes there and the 2 at the top there are what we're going to be attaching it with. So get that lining up about there. Obviously it's the outside of the 4 holes that we're aiming for, because the inside ones have already been used. Get that bit out of the way. You obviously have to have that bit on because you can't put it on afterwards, but yeah. We're going to be using some of the screws that we've received previously. We've got the long silver screw here, 4 of which are going into there, and we'll be holding it in place. So now that won't rotate. We'll make sure we get all the rest of them in and tightened down in a moment. Get the 3rd one in and the 4th one in before tightening. Turn it over so I can get the tightening angles correct. There we go, that's one in there. That one in there. That one in there. And the last one tightened up over there. The wheel doesn't really turn. Well, you can see the top bit turning when you try and turn the wheel, because it's all powered up and geared. That's how that goes in. Now we need the cable from a previous issue. I don't remember which issue. Issue 17, apparently. It's the long cable. So make sure you unravel it and don't get any kinks in it. And we need the big end, which goes into the motor. only goes in one way round. Make sure you get it the right way round. Goes in there like that and locks in place thusly. Now we need to thread the other cable, the other end of the cable rather, up and through. It's got to go through that bit. And we'll be going all the way up, because this is obviously then needs to go into be the circuit inside to be controlled, because it's not just, you know, turned on and everything else. Let me get the right page of the instructions so I can see what I'm doing now. The other cable. I didn't find the other cable. I thought I'd got everything all sorted and I was organised, but I'm less organised than I thought. Let me find the other cable that was supplied in that issue. It looks like that. It's got colours on it. Yep, three-prong cable. Let's undo that from there. One end is bigger than the other. So it says take the big end and put that through the same way as the other one. Okay. Right, now we come to use the cable ties. This is where it gets interesting. I do have the benefit of having had this fun several years ago building my first R2. So hopefully I'll be able to guide you without any problems through what can potentially be a little bit of a problem here. It says insert the end of the cable through this retaining loop in the metal frame. It's just there. And that needs to go through there like that, basically. So we're going to be strapping these cables to that. Now it says before securing the cables with the tie, make sure the length of the free end of the infrared cable between the cable and the tip of the plug. So we're talking about this one. So between the cable and the tip of the plug is 135 millimeters. 13.5 centimeters. So that from there needs to be 13.5 before it goes under the cable thing. I'm gonna give it just a little bit more because I can't remember now which end was a problem, but one of the ends was a problem. So that needs to go in there. Yeah, loop the cable to the right, or fit the point end through. It doesn't say anything about this one, but you need to make sure that it basically tucks under all the way down through there. You need a little bit of give on it, but not too much, because things need to bend a little bit through there. So we'll get that through under there. Then we can get the tie. I'm sure you know how cable ties work, but basically that will tighten that down on there if I pull it and ratchet it back a little bit. So I've got it fairly tight, but the wires will still move if I need them to. That's as tight as you need it to be. So that goes through there. The rest of these wires coming up do exactly the same thing at 3 other points. So we've got one there. We've got one there. And one more at the top up here. And through all of those, we need to get all of these wires. Really neat, because, you know, there's other stuff to be going on. That goes through there. Does up. Exactly the same. So it doesn't need to be gripping the wires so tight that you can't feed them through should you need to. It's just to keep them in the right place going up here, rather than, you know, having to be a problem down the line. If you do it up too tight, these cable ties do have a release built into them, so you can undo them a bit should you need to. But yeah, it's tricky. So let's just try and get it right first time. So that should be all 4 of those cabled in place. Wires now going up there, down there, and loose there, because that's got to plug into the sensor. It says to cut these off. I'm going to cut them off a little bit away. So if I do need to loosen them and do anything with them, I can. But that just tidies those up. They can be thrown away. And that is that first bit. Now we've just got to put all the casings together and everything else. So we need another part from issue 1 or issue 20. I thought it was longer ago than that, but it's not. This is going to be fitted into the outer frame. This is a sensor, so he knows when his shoulder butts up to something. There's a little excess ridge there that needs to go into there, and the rest of it just sits in down the back like that. So that's how that goes in there. It says to push this through there, and we're taking these through there as well, because this is then going in place over there. These bits are always going to be falling out. So let's try and hold that in place while I'm doing this. Make sure the wires are coming through. Make sure that's out of the way down there. So that should be locating over the top of all the pegs and pins and things like that. That goes on there. Let me turn my page over so I can see what's going on, because I can't see the picture-in-picture while I'm doing it. Make sure it's far enough down. Yeah, I just said that. So that goes on there. Then we need to slide this piece up to lock the two halves in place next to each other. Fairly snug fit, but it's okay. So that goes up there like that. Then the outside bit goes on. I've already got that on. I didn't need to worry about that. That didn't fall off, so that's on there. Make sure it is clipped down where it should be, which it isn't. Why isn't it? Oh, it just isn't. There we go. Here, come undone a little bit. So that's going through there like that. All our wires are coming out, and then we need to drive 16mm screws. This is why we got a big bag of screws last time. We need to drive all of these screws, 6mm screws, into all 12 holes indicated. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So all of the holes at the top need a screw in to hold it in place. I'm going to get a few of these in, and then I'll cut away from the video, because you don't need to see me putting in all of these. Basically, work your way around all of it. Don't put them all in, at one end. And as ever, start off with them in loose. Make sure everything lines up before you go back and tighten them up. So I'm going to make sure all these top bits go in. That slips off there again. Make sure that goes in there. And tighten that one down a bit to make sure that doesn't escape. Do the same over the other side there. Right, I shall see you momentarily once I've got all of these together, when we'll put the next couple of parts on there as well. Okay, that's all that tightened up, all the screws in place, all looking good. Next up, we need to fit this to the other side, which a couple of pins, couple of holes, everything else just lines up, and that will hold that silver piece in place up there. This one is held in place with one single screw through there, which holds this in place like that. Then we've got the final part to assemble. This one goes on there, but these have got to go on there first. They fit in place on the outside, just like that, and just like that. No screws to hold them in place. Don't need glue. It's quite a tight, secure fit. Just like that, happily fitted. Then this piece goes over there. Now the one tricky bit to do on this, between there, that's where the cables need to go, which you need to make sure they're lined up and in the right place. That's why you needed a little bit of excess cable management, just to make sure that's where they should be. Then that should pop over the top of everything else. So that isn't. See, I might not have quite left enough of this one there. I'll get it off now. There we go. Work that up. So that's going to go right the way down there. You don't need that to be straining. So I'm going to pull that through just a little bit more. Because I left those cables a little bit loose, it allows me to have a little bit of leeway to do things like that. So then that can go on there. That will go under there. Come on, you know you will. Just like that. And then that should lock down in place in there, making sure the cables aren't trapped. And that is held in place. It says 6mm silver screws, but this is going through into the plastic. The silver tends to be for the metal. So I'm going to continue to use these self-tapping ones to go through into the other side of that. Because it doesn't feel right using silver through into the plastic. They don't fit properly. And it needs to be self-tapping because the holes aren't drilled out because they're plastic. So that is that. I've still got some of those screws left over, which I'll put in the spares box for next time. But things are coming together. Bear in mind that you're going to have to do this all over again on the other leg in a little while. Well, once we've completed this leg. I don't know exactly when the other leg's going to be arriving, but we've got the foot to do yet. And that's got another sensor in there as well. So that is, now, look at that, all together. It's got bits have been added to it. It's all in there as it should be. We've got a wheel now. It's all looking good. So that's that. I'll put those safe. Thank you very much for joining me for this issue 30 of Building R2-D2. I hope you're enjoying the build. Do leave a comment below and let me know how you think I'm doing, if I've done anything wrong or, you know, see something better. But I shall see you very shortly for the next part. And stay safe. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.